All right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai, Bahashim, Rikakwadash. Double honors to my apostles and elders at Great Millstone who do rule and teach well. And peace and salutations to all you Akim out there pushing his truth across the four winds so we can seal the elect and make it to the kingdom. All right, it's the brother Uriah. Lord willing, coming back to you through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai. Lord willing to feed the body and edify the sheep in all spirit, faith, truth, sincerity, and doctrine. All right. And as you can see with the title, we're back with another reality check. Okay. Because reality is prophecy and prophecy is reality. Okay. And that's the reality that you will soon be faced with. All right. If you haven't been faced with it already. All right. Everything is prophecy. So just want to do a quick lesson. You know, as you can see with the title, what is it says? Digital domino effect. Okay. Digital domino effect. Now let's get right into it. And Lord willing is edifying to the body and it feeds the sheep through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Okay. And as you can see here, the meaning of domino effect. Okay. It says the effect of the domino theory. Okay. Now, what is a domino theory? It says here, what is the domino effect in simple terms? Okay. Let's read it. Domino effect is that one thing leads to at least one other thing, which leads to at least one other thing, and so on. You see? All right. You see? Now if you can actually imagine dominoes, being stood up next to each other. And once one fall, they all fall. Okay. One by one. All right. Now check this out. It says a small domino can topple or knock over, right? A bigger domino, which can topple a still bigger domino. So one small one can knock over a bigger one, which can also knock over another bigger one. You see? So one thing can happen and then another thing and then another thing that's more mass or massive. You see? And this is the domino effect. Okay. Now, going back to the title, the digital domino effect. Okay. One thing happens and then another thing bigger happens. And then another thing that's even bigger than that happens. Okay. And we see that happening. Okay. Now let me get this precept right here. This is the book of Isaiah chapter 10 and verse 1. And it reads, woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees. Okay. And what is a decree? It's a mandate or a law. Okay. All right. And who has the power to mandate or decree an unrighteous law? Okay, those that are in power, which are Esau Edom. Okay, the nation of Esau Edom, starting with the elite banking families. All right, the so-called white man, woman, and child. Okay, all right, and Amalek. Okay, all right, the small hats over there in the nation of Israel, pretending to be the children of Israel. Okay. It also goes on to say, and that right grievousness which they have prescribed. Now, when you write something, right, you write it into what? Law. Okay. All right. Which they have prescribed. Okay. All right. Prescribed. Scribe meaning written. Okay. Before scribed. All right. It was already written beforehand. Okay. It was already planned, pre-planned. Okay. Now check this out. This right here. Okay. In the European Union, okay, or the beast. All right. It says entry and exit system. Okay. The entry and exit system here on Wikipedia, the entry and exit system or EES. All right. Is a system of the European Union of the automatic electronic, see that? Electronic monitoring and recording. You see? Digital. All right, of the border crossing and third country nationals. Okay. Now they're trying to do this off of the, the strength of, protecting the border from illegal immigrants and things like that. Doesn't it sound like what's going on right here in America? Keep that in mind. Okay. Because it's going to go into that digital domino effect. Okay. What's going on over here in the UK and the beast. Okay. The EU, the European Union countries, is going to happen eventually here in America. Okay. All right. And it's not just going on in these countries. Okay. It's going on in other countries around the world as well. Okay. All right. I want to point out Again, go to cbdctracker.org. cbdctracker.org. Okay. And it'll show you a world map of every nation on the planet. Okay. And their process and progress leading to a digital currency. Okay. CBDC meaning central bank digital currency. Okay. All right. And every country is moving towards that digital, uh, uh, um, that digital currency. Okay. All right. Now, was something else I wanted to point out here. All right. Look right here. All right. This entry and exit system. Okay. It says, look, electronic system, right? Electronic system for border management. See, electronic system. Everything's about to be digital. Okay. Now check this out also. This is from the skynews.com. All right. It says the first digital ID. The first digital ID launches today. See? All right. Digital veteran ID cards are launching today. And the government wants to disguise passports. All right. Right. It's like a digitize, excuse me. And the government wants to digitize passports. All right, driver's license and others by the end of 2027. See, this devil is moving fast because he know, all right, that his end is near. You see, pertaining to what is it, Revelation chapter 12 and verse 12. Okay, all right, roughly paraphrasing. See, so this is the direction it's going towards, man. All right, and guess what? One thing happens and then another thing happens. Okay, all right, more massive than the thing before. All right. And this is that digital domino effect. Okay. And this is going to come to Babylon the Great, aka America, very soon. All right. Let me see. Well, I mean, the title, says enough, but I also want to remind you of this here. Okay. UK digital ID to work. Okay. It says yes. All right. The UK government, all right, the United Kingdom government plans to introduce a mandatory, see that, mandatory digital ID. See? All right. For proving one's right to work by the end of this parliament. See? All right. Now, check this out. All right. Because, the serpent talks with a forked tongue. Okay. Meaning they say one thing and mean another. Right. Check this out. It says, why not mandatory? It's not mandatory, but it just said that it was mandatory. It says while not mandatory for everyone to have employers, okay, or businesses that are hiring employees, right, will be legally required to check a digital ID for anyone seeking employment in the UK. And that's gonna happen right here in America, man. Okay. That's definitely gonna happen right here in America, man. All right. Because just like in the EU, all right, with their entry exit system, all right, that they're establishing, all right, to combat what uh uh um what is it pretty much illegal immigrants from entering the country illegally. All right, that's the same thing that's going on over here in the United States. Okay, or the Babylon the Great. All right, so they can easily introduce this, man. Okay, all right, and and guess what, there was no vote for this. All right, it's just been introduced and it's been made mandatory. Now let's read it again. Yes, the UK government plans to introduce a mandatory digital ID for proving one's right to work by the end of the parliament. And that's going to happen over here. Okay. And guess what? Everybody has to work, right? You got to pay bills. You got to render unto Caesar what is his. All right. Pay your taxes, right? You see? And so everybody's going to be required to work, right? But in order for you to work, all right, you're going to have that digital ID. See, that's going to be that digital domino effect. It's happening in the UK or in the beast with the entry exit system, all right, which is the EU, all right. And look, they're introducing the first digital ID. All right. Now it says for war veterans, but look, it says then the government wants to digitize passports. If you want to travel, you gotta have a digital ID. Driver's license. If you want to drive, you gotta have a digital ID. and others. And see, that others can be anything. Okay, you want to get government assistance, you got to have a digital ID. Okay, you see, you want to get into concerts, you want to buy food, you want to buy or sell, you got to have that digital ID. Okay. Let's get this here. Revelation chapter 3 and verse 10. And it reads, and this is red letter, so you know who's speaking. Our Lord and Savior, Yahweh Shai Mashiach. Because thou hast kept the word of my patience. All right. Talking to the elect of the nation of Israel. Okay. You so-called blacks, Latinos, Native and Seminole Indians. Okay. The remnant, the true believers. It says, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation. See? Which shall come upon all the world. See, all the world, not just in the UK, right? Not just in the UK, all right, not just in the European Union countries, all right, or Europe, right? But all the world. See, so all the world is going to be tried with this digital dominance. Okay, it says to try them that dwell upon the earth. Okay, and what is going to be that hour of temptation? All right, that's going to try everybody on the planet. Okay, let's get it. All right, and we'll end it off with this. All right, it's that Revelation chapter 13 and starting at verse 15. All right, and it reads, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. Okay, and that image of the beast, all right, is that old beast. Okay, all right, which is the Roman Empire. Okay, all right, and guess what? America is the Roman Empire born all over again. Okay, and you can see it in every fashion of America. Okay, you see, so if you don't decide to get down with this new digital ID effect, right, that mandatory digital ID, right, which is ultimately going to lead to that mark of the beast. Okay, if you don't want to get down with that, then guess what? You're going to be cut off from society. Okay. You're not going to be able to live. Thus, for you're going to be killed. Okay. All right. And hell, you can even, hey, with Trump in office, all right, that cruel Lord, all right, that fierce king, all right, he can bring in those draconian laws. Look, if you don't get this mark, you can be decapitated. Okay. You can actually be physically killed. See? Verse Revelation 13 and 16, it says, and he calls of all, both small and great. See, all, not just the UK. Well, that just happened in the UK. No, well, it's going to be a digital domino effect. Okay, all right. What's going on over in the UK is going to eventually lead to other countries, especially right here in America. All right, and he calls of all. All right. We just read the hour of temptation. All right. Which is going to try the entire world and everyone on it. Okay. Everyone on the planet. It says, and he calls of all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond. See the entire spectrum of people. All right. To receive a mark, which is charagma. All right. Which goes back into the word charax. All right. Which means it's going to be implanted underneath your skin. It's going to be impaled into your skin. Okay. Under your skin. All right. Not an actual stamp or a tattoo. No, no, no. It's going to be engraved underneath your skin. Okay. You see, which we know that to be that RFID microchip. Okay. It says to receive a mark or charagma or that RFID chip in their right hand or in their foreheads. And that can be right or left hand. Okay. All right. And we know the foreheads, all right, which goes, look, the forehead goes back into metopon, okay, which goes into meta, okay. All right. The metaverse, which is what? Digital. See, meta. All right. Just wanted to prove that right quick. All right. And we know that what they have that, was it Elon Musk? He has the, what is it called again? The Neuralink, okay, which is what? The brain chip. And then there's lots and lots of other companies too, okay, that are creating their own versions of the brain microchip, okay. All right, verse 17, it says, and that no man might buy or sell, okay. You're not going to be able to thrive in a flow within society, all right, or within the nation that you reside in unless you have that mark. saith he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Okay. Here is wisdom. Let him that have understanding count the number of the beast. All right. And the only people that have that understanding is the elect of the nation of Israel. You other people don't understand. Okay. That's why you're going to get it. Okay. All right. You don't have true faith in Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. So you're going to give in and you're going to get it. Okay. You're going to get that chip. All right. It says, for it is the number of a man. And we know that man to be who? Esau, Edom, the wicked. Okay. And his number is 603 score and six. Okay. All right. Look, Chi, Psi, stigma. Okay. All right. Chi, Psi, stigma. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna leave it there. All right. And now look, it's gonna be a digital domino effect. Okay. All right. And I'll leave it there. Lord willing, it's edifying to the body, and it fed the sheep through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Rechakwadash, Shalom, and the Baba Ball.